and I can hear in today's video we are going to see this. I saw this inspiration on IG and I crafted it into something more like this, and yeah, so I'm using this to display real estate listings. So you can use that, you can use this to display whatever that you want, but right now I'm using it to display this. And the idea is really simple. You hover on a card, or let's say a post item, and then the color, the overlay color goes away, reveals the background color, and also you can see that there is this image over there that also slides away. With that, we are using selectors to do that. So that is what we're going to try and do in this video. All right, so let's go into creating our global block. So in here, I am going to remove everything. So go into the structure panel and then delete everything and then save it, right? Go into our selectors and also delete all the selectors and then save that. All right, if you don't know how to create a global block, probably you might have to watch a different video, because we are not going to do that, but we are going to style this global block that we've called the tool. All right, so let's click on add, and then in here we are going to add a div. So let's say add so this div comes in, and go into container. We're going to give it a height. We want it to fill the entire height of the screen, so 100, and then click on custom, and I'm going to add dvh. So you can see that's the height. All right, we don't have to worry about width, that is fine. The next thing that we are going to do is go into background, and with background we are going to give it an image, and then use the dynamic icon, and then select that. You can see that we have selected the featured image. We can go into like image settings, and then you can do more over there. In here we are going to say that let our image contain, and then I'm going to say, okay, let's say size, right? And then for size I'm going to say 100 dvh, and then go into custom, make sure that it is 100 dvh like that, and I'm going to say that no repeat. All right, so this is what I want to do. You can do whatever that you want with your background image. All right, so that is fine with me. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more content over here. So the div being selected again, I'm going to go into container, and then for pattern, I'm going to make sure that this has 30 pixels pattern, but the bottom has 130 pixels, so that our item comes up a bit more, so that it's not like all the way to the bottom. All right, so that is fine. Let's add a few contents to it. So in here I'm going to add a button, so let me search for button. So this is a button, and then I am going to add a div, so a div, so that's a div, and then inside the div we are going to have a few things like let's say we're going to have a text, and this text is going to be for the location, and the next thing is going to be a heading text, and this heading text is going to be the post title. We can even add a braille button over here by just duplicating this button and then bringing it down into the div. All right, so this div being selected, we're going to go into layout, and then I am going to give it a gap of probably like 10 pixels, I think, which is fine. The next thing I'm going to add is also an image. So let me type in image, and where's the image icon? All right, image. So let me drag it all the way to the top. All right, so that is fine. Selecting back on that div, I'm going to go into container, and for width I'm going to do 100%. All right, and I'm also going to select this image. I'm going to go into styling, and then for styling purposes click on image, and then for width we can make width also 100%, and then for height I'm going to do 150 pixels, and for object fit I'm going to say cover. So we're going to have something more like that. Selecting back on our main div, I'm going to go into layout, and then go into horizontal, vertical align is on desktop version, and then align also I'm going to say space in between, so this one comes all the way to the bottom. All right, let's start styling this a bit more. Click on button here, and then with this, with the text is going to be the pricing. So click on the dynamic icon, click on price, so you see the price over there. Click on the dynamic price, and then in the advanced section I'm just going to add a $sign. All right, go into styling, go into custom, and then click on the custom icon, and then I'm going to give it an outline. Make sure the outline is round, make sure there's no fill, go into the size, make sure the size is small, so you have something more like that. If you want to change the typography size, you can also do that. So that is the first thing. Second thing that I'm going to do is click on this image and then go into the edit, click on choose. Sorry about that. We are going to use the dynamic icon, so click on dynamic icon and then use featured image. So you can see that you get something like this. That is not what we want. We're going to go into styling and then just close, minimize that, go into effect. With effect, I'm going to go into mask. And then for mask, the shape that I'm going to use is a custom one. So I'm going to scroll all the way to the bottom and click on custom and then click on choose. And I have this that I did in Figma. Just bring it in. So you have something more like that. You can see it because it is not showing it. I'm going to go into size here and change this one to contain. So you see something more like that. All right. So this is, it is coming up nicely. And with the text, so in here, clicking on this text, I'm going to go in here and go into styling. And I'm going to change the color to this color. I'm going to give it the size of 0.8. And yeah, you can leave that as REMs, and that is fine. And the next thing, go into the edit, click on the dynamic icon. This is going to be the location. So location is port, and then click on this heading. You can give it a tag that you want. Let's give this one an H2. Go into in this dynamic icon, click on dynamic icon. This is going to be the post title. So you can see that I put in the post title. And in here, we are going to go into styling, typography, make this one 1 REM. And then also you can make this one like a 500 if you do want. I'm going to change the color to something more visible like that. All right, so that is fine. The next thing I'm going to do is this. I can, what you call it? Clicking back on here, you can give this one view listing. Then go in here and change this one to custom. I'm going to make this one an outline, but give it a background color of, let's say background color of that. And then with typography, you can change the typography to this black. And also, let's make this one a round like that. Going back in typography, we can make this one 0.85 REMs. And that is good. We can even do more by going to size and making sure that this is a small too. And yeah, I think that is good. We do have something more like this. Okay, so let's save that. I'm going to go into my home page where I'm going to display this loop. I'm going to let's remove everything and start first so you can see how I'm doing it. So there's a section. Let's remove the section. And I'm going to add a new section. So new section is here. And then with this new section, what I'm going to do is go into size. And then for height, let's change it to custom. And then with minimum height, I'm going to change this one to also custom. And then type in 100 dvh, which is fine. And then after that, I am going to go into, still in size. Let's make sure this one is full. And then for spacing, I am going to make this one everything 0 all around. And we do have something more like that. All right, let me close this. And next thing is to click on add and then type in the word loop, right? So we do have this loop over there. All right, so we are going to choose our global block, which is called detour. And then I'm going to go into query and then click on custom, edit query, remove post, click choose post type. This is my post type that I'm using. Choose that, change this one to a 4 and then apply it. All right, so this is what we do have. The next thing is to just minimize that, go into styling and then go into listing. I'm going to make this one a layout of a grid. And then I want to do 3 items. And also, I want to do 4 items. And also, I want to make sure that the space in between is a 0. I'm going to go into this post option. Go into pattern, make sure the pattern is also 0 all around it. So we do have something more like this. All right, so let's save this, right? And I am going to go. All right, so that is saved. I'm going to leave it just like that. Let me go back here and then refresh. Let's say refresh. I think everything we did just vanished. All right, so I'm just going to just do it real quick. So section height. I don't know why I even did that. Okay, so that is good. Let's add our loop now. So loop, and then for loop, I'm going to make sure that this is the tool. Go into query, edit the query, remove post type, choose more, make sure this is full, apply it, go into styling, and then post. I am going to do the list. I'm going to change this onto a grid of a 4. No space in between. Go into post type. Also make sure the pattern is 0 all around it. All right, so as you can see, we have something like this. What did I do over here? So this is 4. I just showing more than 4. All right, so 1 gotta go. All right, so this is what we do have. So this is our listing. The next thing that we want to add is we want to add the color overlay, so that when we hover, it removes the color overlay and then reveals the apartments that you do see. All right, so going back in here, so we have this. Let me say this and then go into the selector. So the div being selected, I am going to go into background and then overlay. So click on overlay. All right, so with overlay, I'm going to give it an overlay color of full black like that. Okay, so that is fine. And clicking back in the overlay, when you hover on the color, you can see that this then comes up. Just click on that. So this is when you hover. So I'm just going to pull. When I click on the color, I'm just making sure that it is transparent. So when you hover, the color goes away, reveals the apartment. So you hover out just like that. So we are almost done with this. Coming back here, when we refresh, so we do have something like this. When you hover, you can see that it is really it is coming out nicely. So next thing that we want to do is that we want this image to disappear when we also hover. All right, so that is where we are going to go back in here, and let's deal with this. First, we want to hover on this div, and let's call this div tall div, right? It's like that. All right, so we want to hover on tall div, and then we want tall div's image over here to disappear. All right, so back in all right, selecting this, go into this cog icon here in the advanced section. We're going to give it a class of my tall dash div. I'm going to copy that and then click on enter. All right, so our div now has a class associated with it. Let's click on the image, go into the advanced setting, and then let's give it a class of my tall div dash dash img. So it means that my tall div's image. Let's click on enter. All right, so that is good. And next thing that we want to do is that we want to apply some animation. We want to hover on my tall div, and then we want my tall div's image to slide down and disappear. Okay, so going back, clicking on my tall div, I am going to go into the selector, right? So the selector, and then I'm going to paste my tall div's class name. So let's make sure that there's a period sign in front of it. So my tall div, that's the class name. And then I'm going to say that when I hover, so hold shift and this the column sign, and then type in the word hover. All right, so when you hover, what do you want to happen? We want to now affect my tall div's image. So make sure there's a period sign over here. So this class called my tall dash div dash dash img. So we want to apply an animation to that. So this is the class that we want to animate. So click on add, and then I'm going to go into click on edit, and in the editing section, so go into effect, right? And in effect, what we want to do is we want to transform it from its original position. So I'm going to click on add item, and then click on translate, and then I'm just going to make it 30 pixels, right? So now when you hover on it, you can see that it is going down, but it is not fading away. All right, so still in this class, I'm going to go into the search and type in the word opacity. You can see opacity comes up. I'm going to make opacity 0. So now let's see what happens when you hover. it slides down and the opacity takes it away, which is 0. When you slide away, you can see that, but it is not too smooth. All right, so let's close everything here and then click on this to go back into the selector. And with this image, the class for the image is my tour dev _img. Click on the edit button, and then in the effect, I'm going to click on transition, and then let's drag this. So transition is over here. I want to make sure my transition is, let's give it 500 pixels, right? So when you hover, it goes away nicely. You can see how smooth that is. When you go it away, you can change your ease over here. You can use ease, and you can also use linear. You can see, I think ease is better. All right, you can also choose whatever that you want, which is nice. All right, so that is how you create this fading thing for the image. Let's save that, right? And then go into here and refresh. But you can see that when you hover, it doesn't do anything because the animation is not reflecting over here. The class that we just added is not reflecting. Let me refresh, right? All right, so I'm going to do something. I'm going to save this, right? And I'm going to refresh. I'm going to come back over here. Don't refresh here because when you refresh, all your classes are going to go away. I'm just going to save here too, right? And then I'm going to come back here and I am going to refresh. So now the classes will be put in, and when I hover, you can see that now it is working. So you can see that now everything is working smoothly like that. All right, next thing I want to do is that you can see that all this, like, I want to add border like in between so that it looks more like separate. Right now it looks like everything is smooshed together. So clicking on the loop, right, this loop, I'm going to go in here and then we want to add a class. So I'm just going to click here, right? But to do that, let's save this and then let's go into the front end. I'm going to refresh. All right, so you can see that our animation is working. I'm going to open the developers panel, and then I want to find a class. There's a class here that I want to target. All right, so there's the class, EE post. Copy that. Go back into our loop. So there's our loop. And then you can see that our selector is already here. I'm just going to click on the side and then put in the class, but make sure that your period sign is there. So period. And what I want to do is going back in here, I'm going to go into styling, go into container, right? And then for container, let's make sure I'm selecting the right thing. All right, so this is there. And also for container, what I want to do is I'm going to click on border and border left. Let's give it 5 pixels and let's go the color of that. All right, that is the wrong thing. I'm clicking on container. I want to go into post, go into border. In here, I'm going to add a border of 5 pixels. So you can see that there are borders in between, but there's border on the first one, but you're going to fix that. Choose this color so it's more visible. All right. If you remember, we just copied the class. So that class is still over here. What we want to do is that we want to affect the first, what do you even call it? The first child. We want to affect the first child of this. We want to affect the first child of this loop net. This loop. All right, so EE stands for the grade over here, all the classes for each grade. So I'm going to the class, and then let's put this column sign and let's say first dash child. All right, so when you do that, you can just come down and then type in the word border, and then let's say left, and then I'm going to put the column over there and say 0 pixels. And close that. You can see that. So the first one now doesn't have a border, but everything else has a left border. So when you come to the front end, and then I'm going to refresh, so you can see that now everything has a border on the left except the very first one. So this is how to build this card, and I do think it adds a different feeling to cards. It makes them different. Rather than, you can see there's this over here, which is a bit boring. So something more like this gives it, it brings different perspective to cards. And yeah, as always, my name is Nyakon. If you found the video educative, you can give it a thumbs up. And also, if you're looking for a component library for a component library for breakdance, I do have a component library called More Blocks. Go to www.moreblocks.com and you can join for the free or the paid version. And also, if you want to get breakdance, there's a link down in the description below. And also, a lot of people have been asking about the screen recorder. I did leave an affiliate link and also in the link below. So if you want to help the channel, you can use the affiliate link to go and subscribe to the screen recorder. It is called Screen Studio, I think so. All right, thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next one.